What's up, everybody? Supreme Decisions here. And today I actually want to go into something because I found it interesting because some of the stuff that I kind of jot down just kind of rams in my mind, kind of runs a little rampant. But I actually ran across something that I wrote literally the day before my birthday in 2020, like right before the pandemic. And what was funny is because one of the things I locked in on is one of the questions that I'm constantly asked, and it's, do we have a fair system? Or does the system work properly? And this is why I also tell people I hate dealing with people, because the worst clients that I have are innocent people and intelligent people or smart people. Because if you're really smart, you think the law works the way you see on TV, that you believe. If you're innocent, you can't believe you've done anything wrong in their eyes, and that just telling the truth will set you free because that's what you've been told. Well, this is one of those where I was just jotting a lot of stuff down, trying to form an opinion or form a thought. And one of the things I actually got on here is 13 others that were innocent that were executed in South Carolina. So just in South Carolina, because actually I remember I gave you a list of 103 that were innocent, we knew was innocent, that were still executed, and we moved on about our day. And in this, I was writing down 13 that we know of that are innocent that were executed in South Carolina. The youngest of those being a 14-year-old. He suffered from a mental illness. His name was George Stinney, Stinney. And then I wrote down the New York Central Park 5. Now, one of the things I also kind of noted under that was Amy Klobuchar. She cannot apologize. She couldn't apologize. Because a lot of people were like, why didn't she do that? Because if she apologized, she becomes liable personally for malicious prosecution. Because remember, I told you one of the things that was kind of shocking to me, that people were okay with the interrogation of a 14, a 15, and 16-year-old child for 17 hours, constantly lied to, yet they excused the behavior of a trained officer that had worked for 16 hours because they said her sitting in a car was too much. It was exhausting. But sitting in an interrogation room was not, even though we know by Supreme Court cases that the interrogation itself is designed to coerce, it's designed to intimidate, it's designed to manipulate. But someone that's not being manipulated, that's not being coerced, it was too much for them, but it wasn't too much for a child. And then I got 16-year-olds interrogated by police for more than 16 hours. Again, that was the same 14, 15, 16-year-old, and it was actually 17 hours. Did not allow them to go, and actually did not allow him to go to his mother's funeral because she died in a car crash the day before he was indicted. The name is Myron Burrell. And he maintained his innocence throughout the entirety of this ordeal. The state accused him and sentenced him. They had no gun, no DNA, no fingerprints, and no witnesses. I'm going to say that one more time. No gun, no DNA, no fingerprints, no witnesses. Maintained his innocence. He spent 18 years in prison. Why is that? Because he did not have a zealous criminal defense. The defense did not ask for the things necessary, because all of these are reasons not to get him sent to prison. All of these. No gun, so there's no murder weapon. No DNA, can't place him there. No fingerprints, can't place him there. No witnesses, can't place him there. But he still went to prison for 18 years, and here's the kicker. Because he refused to play along with the prosecution and take a lesser guilty plea. Now, this is also something that I want to speak about as far as Young Thug. Most people didn't understand why he took the deal. I'm going to get into that in another video because I think it's very interesting as to why. And I think most people have no clue of why. Now, they also had the confession from the actual shooter, the person who actually committed the crime. The shooter stated Burrell was not involved. Amy still wouldn't apologize. Amy still wants a deal. Amy is still okay with an innocent man being in prison. Remember that? That's why I put on there, as far as my notes, the Central Park 5. Because they had the DNA from someone else. They had the confession from someone else. And they still allowed these children that were interrogated for 16, 17 hours to sit in prison knowing they were innocent. And this man was also put in jail. Myron was 16 years old when he went to prison. They were okay with him being in prison for 18 years knowing he was innocent. And still wanted a deal knowing he was innocent. This is, again, I'm going to do another video because I'm going to talk about the skewed numbers, because we're being told that a certain people commit crimes unproportionately. When I used terms targeted, because I have 83 other options and I keep picking up the 17. I'm looking for the 17. But again, that's for another video. Because the long and short of all of this that I was doing was giving you the illustration that it's not a war on drugs. The war is actually on the poor. The rules are different. Because even like I was speaking to one of my partners last night, the rich are policed differently than the poor. The rich are reported differently than they are for the poor. Because when we're talking about the poor, we're talking about people that cannot pay fines. So they have to do it with paying with time to fill up these privatized prisons, to do things that are considered punishment, even though they have yet to be convicted, and even in some cases, not even guilty of. The beast feeds on the weak, thrives on fear, and celebrates inconvenience, which is why you are so in a hurry to actually pay for a ticket instead of fighting back. The tactics, most people don't know. The verbiage, most people have no idea that is being spoken. And the tone of their conversation is different if you don't have money. This is why you fight back. You can't concern or concede anything. You challenge everything and involve with a police encounter. This is why the question should be, why cannot police perform the duties that they volunteer to do and are paid to do?